Welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for the new champion video on Scream. We're just gonna jump straight into this. I'm gonna start showing you the fights. She has depending on how you look at it, once you fully understand it, how to utilize her and how to make her work in tougher fights and things like that, the kit becomes, I would use the term complex, right? There's a lot going on, but if you get it, you got it, you're gonna have some great results. Before that time, it felt very, very complicated. In fact, a day ago, I was not nearly as high on Scream as I am now. And that's because thanks to a lot of the guys that are in the Illuminati and in the CCP, because that's only who I was able to talk to about this champion, they helped me figure out a lot how to utilize her Undermine, which for me was a massive part of her utility that helped me go from she's a good champion to a potentially great champion, because you can access it and it actually fits into her damage loop phenomenally. We're going to put it all together at the end. I'm showing you though the great highlights that you can pull off. This is the smaller Star-Lord on the CCP testing map. All of these fights are going to be 7-star, rank 2, Sig 20. So not that different than your 6-star, rank 5 Ascended. In fact, the 6 stars are going to have an advantage for a little while because their signature ability really opens up a tremendous amount of fights that you can take with her. We'll cover the signature ability, and I graded her with that when we placed her on the tier list. But I want you to know, all of this is just with the Sig 20. It's just opening up other fights. It's not helping produce any of the results that are eye-popping that you're going to see in this video. I hope it's clear. I've become a massive fan. She's fun, she looks great, and this is a kit that, as I said, as you start to master it, you can open up a lot of fights, pull off really cool results, have a lot of fun. And I can tell I'm still definitely have not mastered her. All right, so let's go into jump in and I'll talk about what you're actually seeing here. Because I know you're seeing big eye-popping numbers like this, right? Remember, some of these Star-Lords have like 270,000 health. Some have like 880 to the best of my recollection. We'll confirm here in a second. Now, she's all about this madness meter and how you utilize that as you're going through a fight. And there's a variety of ways you can even go about taking the fight or start the fight. I tried playing her, getting up different buffs at different times. I tried playing her starting off the fight with her auto block. In fact, this might be the one. Let's see. No, it's not. Okay, so in this one, I have gone straight forward with the light ender. You can see the madness is increased. It's that passive in the upper left corner. And now I'm triggering the buffs from it by ending in a medium. You can see we are getting that energized. It's going to give us more combat power, right? We should go and throw our SP1. The smaller Star-Lord didn't need to throw the SP1. It was nice, but didn't have to do it. And then you're going to throw that SP1. On activation, you're going to gain a large attack increase for each unique buff. That's part of why you want those unique buffs going when you throw that SP1. But it's your SP2 that's really the cash out moment. Your SP1 is setting up the SP2. The second part of the SP1 is each hit's going to consume a madness to grant Scream a 100% fervor buff. That fervor buff is going to help you out a lot when you throw that SP2. On any hit with 0 madness, you're going to gain 1 madness and then gain a madness instead of fervor for the rest of the attack. That's really helpful because you do need the madness to create the buffs, including the Undermine that we've been talking about. And you can see I'm going through, sometimes I'm ending a combo in a medium attack, like, oh, I didn't do on that one. That one I ended on a light because we went into our special 2. I'll explain that. When you end on a light, you're going to move the madness meter along. On the special 2, on activation, you're going to consume all madness. If 4 or more madness were consumed, gain an unblockable buff for the duration of this. You can see why you want that madness going, right? You want that unblockable buff and all that stuff. And then here's the rest of it. On each of the final 4 hits, you're going to deal a burst of 646 direct damage for each debuff on the opponent. Remember, the SP1 giving you all those debuffs, helping you get those debuffs as you go up to the SP2. Cash out on the SP2. Make sure you have all your madness you can to get that additional attack going then, and then you're good to go. Then, the last part of that is the potency of these bursts increased by 8% for each madness consumed. That's why you want so many madness, right? All right, so now we're going to go into it, and I am going to show you the eye-popping fights. In fact, we're almost there, because for me, it was the Undermine. I was like, are we gone? This is a cool, kind of complex damage dealer. That's great, but when we're scoring her, putting her on the tier list, all the various things we look at, Battlegrounds, War, and all that stuff, how is this actually going to come together? Like, are you going to be able to utilize that utility? Okay, all of that's been great. And this whole time I've been building up to, like, look, she's very flexible. You can play her in this way. You can build your madness. You can get your buffs going. Ultimately, as long as you've got the madness and the buffs, when you throw the SP1 and SP2, you're going to be fine. The big thing for me was the Undermine. That's a significant part of her utility that'll help her take like Penny Parkers, Red Skulls, those sorts of things, any sort of auto block where you need the Undermine buff. Could you play her in a way that keeps it up so that you just have it, or do you have to time these very complex things and these different wheels and things going, or can you just keep it up? And if so, how much does it hurt her damage? Well, let's watch this, okay? So we're going up against the smaller Star-Lord, 260,000 health. Every fight has been about 30 seconds, 31, 32, 33, just depending on the AI and things like that. Let's watch this as we go, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna immediately trigger our buffs so that we can get our Undermine going, right? So we're ending in medium. You can see we've got our vicious buff. We've now got another one. Remember, we're playing like we're playing against Penny Parker. So I really want to have it before she can throw her special one. We've now got it. Now, here's a really cool thing. We've thrown our special one. We've got all the cool things that we need from that. And then when we medium again, we're refreshing the Undermine. See, it was only 5 seconds, and that's part of what was concerning me. And now I'm realizing we don't seem to be paying a damage price for this. We are able to keep this going as long as we're mindful of our madness. We're now going to go into our special 2, and then a light to get 3 madness. We don't get the unblockable buff, but you see the results. You see the results. I think this ended up being about 36 seconds, but we had way more runway there. If that Star-Lord had had more health, we would have been just fine. Now, we're going to get to the 880, right? Actually, let's go back and confirm exactly what this is. Okay, 848,000 health. Keep that in mind, all right? We're going to do that exact same rotation. Keep that in mind, 850,000 health. I'm geeked up. Like, we'll talk about it later here. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going in, ending in the medium. You can see our madness meter going right. We've got our vicious buff. We're going to end in medium again. Want to be really careful. We're pretending we're fighting Penny Parker here. Now we're good to go. We're going to throw our special one, right? We're landing all of our debuffs. We've got our fervor now. We've even got our auto block helping out, this sort of thing. Now watch this. This is really, really, really cool. We're going to continue to go in. We're keeping the Undermine refreshed. Where do I do it? Where do I do it? I know it's coming up. Come on. All right, so now we're going to go in, end in a light, throw our SB2, and watch this. 50% health, 51% health. Keep in mind, all those bleeds are still ticking. 50% health. We are not long into this fight. We are not long into this fight at all. Remember, 850,000 health. We've taken off 50% of it, and we've kept the Undermine up the whole time. You don't always have to do that, but we have, meaning you can utilize that utility and not pay a damage price for it, at least not a material one. And when you see the end of this fight, you're going to be like, somehow this actually increased the damage. Watch, let's say, this is really, really cool. I'm geeked up. I'm geeked up. This champion has me hyped, as the kids say. I believe. Some of you just rolled your eyes. I don't care. That's fine. All right, so now we're going to move on. And now we need to get some more madness. So we're going to end in our light attack. We've got our madness going again. Repeat the process here, right? Except, watch this. We're going to go straight to our SP2, land that, and we're good to go. This guy is dead. This guy is dead. We kept up the Undermine. We utilized the buffs that we had. And watch the time on this fight. Remember, all the other ones were like a minute 5, a minute 9, a minute 8, a minute 10. 56 seconds. I'm sure we had some crit RNG go our way. The AI was nice. But this is an idea of what is possible while utilizing that utility. For me, that is a massive deal in gauging a champion's value and their potential future value in MCoC. All right, we're going to talk about her signature ability and then place her on the tier list. All right, her signature ability, does she need it? Just to directly answer that question, I was going to say, no. I showed you this whole thing. If you're like, what? Go back and watch this whole video and you'll see this is always a signature level 20 champion. At no point was a material part of the fight dependent upon even that Sig 20. Not at all. In fact, this is part of why I like it and why I've gone from like, I'm not sure I'm a fan to no, this is awesome, because you could do all of that. And then as you see from these 4 bullet points, various parts of her signature ability are going to open up fights to you. You're going to make fights more simple, right? The regen, really, really nice, is the champion. She's got the auto block right and the hold heavy and all that stuff. So there's sometimes you might play a little risky, let's call it, but you saw me play. I didn't play overly risky and got phenomenal results. Against the Spider-Verse heroes, this is like that Venom thing where they can't evade. you're gonna want your signature ability though really high before this really kicks in. This is part of what I was saying. The 6-star might, for the time being, be even better than the 7 against the symbiotes. Right? You're gonna, when gaining Madness, each second Madness is gonna grant a chance to get an extra one. You saw how Madness is kind of like your cash. It's your resource that you're utilizing throughout the fight. But again, you saw me, once I got down the concept of like ending in lights and using my mediums, it wasn't that bad. I'm sure there's going to be difficult fights that'll come in, but I think that's cool that they limited this part just to the symbiotes. It's like a nice extra as opposed to something you essentially need. And then I think this is the really big one. As against tech champions, each stack of Madness reduces the opponent's armor up ability by 25%. And this was counterintuitive to me because I was like, well, she's armor breaking anyway. What does it matter? Like, she's landing so many armor breaks. What do I care if they get them at all? But again, talking to some of the CCP guys that are in the Illuminati, they point out like, well, there's future Ant-Man, and sometimes there's nodes where they start with an armor up and you just don't want to hit them at all. And so being able to just have that turned off from the beginning of the fight, or like future Ant-Man where the armor breaks can become the passive and all that, you just don't even want them getting them to begin with. Again, though, everything I just showed you was without this. So for me, if we judge her on where she already was, what we saw in the video, and then we add this on top, it just increases what she can take and how easily she can take them. So does she need this? No. Would I want her awakened and at a higher sig? Absolutely. And I won't be upset if I pull her multiple times. In fact, I'll just be excited because there's more fights that are going to get that much easier for me. To briefly mention her synergies, this one with Medusa is really nice. I didn't go into it too much, but this is the auto block, right? When you holding the heavy and you can auto block, and that can be a really nice way to open her up a little bit. I did show it in a couple of fights. I'm kind of now remembering that I didn't call it out. If you have Medusa along, that's going to help that as well too. Help you get going in. You're going to get more of your hybrid buffs and the whole thing. Help her damage ramp. And this does obviously look nice for Medusa as well. Initially, I thought, why would I want to take both of them? But Scream does have the Undermine. Medusa does have the Armor Shatter. So as much as they do have some overlap, they actually are different. And there's a variety of fights where I could see on a lane or a path or something like that, that you would like to have both. Additionally, they're different enough where I think it makes sense for an account to rank them both up. And now that Medusa's buffed, hey, why not? If you haven't seen my buff Medusa video, you should check out. She's awesome. And then there's a couple other really nice ones here with Carnage and Anti-Venom. And then this one with Morbius kind of intrigues me as well too, especially because they're different classes. And with that personal fervor active, which you're going to have in a lot of the time, as you saw. So that would be really nice. And then a variety of other synergies with champions that lore-wise make sense for her. And then here is her initial placement on the tier list. Again, I always want to remind you, make sure you tune in every single month, because myself, the Illuminati, we all get together, we analyze every single champion, where they're falling in the meta and that sort of thing. And so it's updates every single month. Here's where I have initially placed her without checking in with any of the non-TCP members of the Illuminati. Again, they're not allowed to have access to this because of our non-disclosure agreements. We all think she's really, really good. She's for sure a great damage dealer. There's no doubt about that at all. Her flow is very, very good. As I said, as you learn to play her and you get used to the madness mechanic, the ending in light, the ending in medium, what feels like a complex kit becomes more of a, a complicated kit becomes more of a complex one that you can utilize to your advantage. As I showed, being able to keep the Undermine up and have it in many ways increase your damage was massive for me. That just ties in so well. Well done to the designer. I love that. To me, that's the sort of thing that makes her relevant now, but also appears to be able to keep her relevant for a very long time. I do not think she's moving down into super hot. I'd be very, very surprised to see that happen anytime soon. I could see her moving up in Scorching. She doesn't have any other immunities or anything like that. The way I would see that happening is if we realize her damage is even better once we're able to out and test her in the real game, the real world, in Battlegrounds. She came up with a pretty good war score despite not having those immunities. And a lot of that's going to be, though, with her at a higher sig, in my opinion. We'll see how that plays out. In Battlegrounds, I actually went very conservative on this, like I always do in the new one. I actually wanted to give her an 8 out of 10 because of how immense that damage is and how prevalent those Red Skull is in future Ant-Man, right? In Battlegrounds, even in the current meta with the Crit Me and all that stuff, Red Skull is anyways. And then her general score, as far as like her flow, is very good. Her meta score is excellent because, again, the prevalence of the armor ups, the keeping them off of the champion and from the node or anything like that at any point in time, very, very high. And then as far as her full kit, like her champion budget, with that sort of damage, she's going to have at least a good score. And then with the auto block and the Undermine, again, being able to be utilized without having to sacrifice damage, that gives her very, very large champion budget scores. I hope it's clear. I really like this champion. And part of why you're seeing or hearing so much enthusiasm in my voice, because I'm aware of it, is that just like 24 hours ago, I was like, I think we got like somewhere in the Venom Pool range. But again, thanks to the guys. And I really want to thank you all. You know who you are. That helped me think this through, talk about it, understand this kit better, get used to it. I think she's way better than that. And I love seeing that. I love it because she is so cool and so much fun to play as well. And so this is a champion where I feel like you're not having to decide like, okay, I'll accept lesser results because they look cool and they're my favorite from the comics and they're fun to play. No, this is your favorite, one of your favorite symbiotes, or you love the symbiotes. They look cool, and the designer did a phenomenal job because you're not going to have to pay that price when you want to use them. I absolutely love that in this game. As usual, though, let me know what you think we got right. Let me know what you think we got wrong. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.